Thank you. My name is Liz Tidyman, and I'm very grateful for the invitation to share a word with you today. Holy One, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. In today's passage from John's Gospel, Jesus says to his disciples, I give you a new road to walk. In the same way that I have loved you, you are to love each other. This kind of love will be the sign for all people that you are walking the road with me. To put this passage in context, Bible scholar Gail O'Day writes, this part of John's Gospel is known as the farewell discourse because here Jesus speaks to his disciples just prior to his arrest, trial, and death. What Jesus envisions for his disciples is the present reality for the reader of this gospel. Reverend Dr. Robert Shore Goss writes, the farewell discourse is instruction to the post-resurrection disciples on how to live in a world full of conflict and antagonism. My friends, we too are post-resurrection disciples. The instruction given at the Last Supper is not only for Jesus' friends in that room, but also for us. Can we relate even a little to a world full of conflict and antagonism?
Yes.
I wonder what emotions were in the room at the Last Supper. Were Jesus and the disciples feeling chronic outrage at the Roman occupation and its many injustices? Were they feeling acute fear because of specific events? Were they feeling demoralized? Can we relate to feeling outrage, fear, or demoralized? Into this swirl of emotions, Jesus interrupts the flow of a meal with the startling act of washing the feet of his disciples. Shortly after the foot washing, Judas leaves the room. Thus, all who remain are truly Jesus' friends. To them and to us, Jesus says, I give you a new road to walk. In the same way that I have loved you, you are to love each other. Jesus' love for his disciples has just included foot washing, an experience of mutual trust, vulnerability, intimacy, and time. Jesus had slowed down the meal for all. Were they together for twice as long as some other suppers? Jesus had also dramatically closed the distance between divinity and humanity. Jesus was vulnerably available to each disciple, and each disciple was vulnerably available to Jesus. So when Jesus gives us the new commandment to love each other as Jesus loved, I hear, slow it down, close the distances, and strengthen trust and vulnerability. What does this look like? At Spirit of Peace, it looks like a lot of things. Making bread for the communion we will celebrate in a few minutes. It looks like the coffee we will share a little later. It looks like steadfast showing up in person and online for worship, prayer, justice, nurturing, pride, and more. In my own life, it also looks like making soup. And I will say more about this. For others, it looks like stillness in the natural world, surrounded by trees, birds, and maybe streams of water. For others, it looks like taking a walk outside. For others, it starts with creativity, drawing, painting, collage making, music making, drumming, dance. These practices invite us to slow it down, close the distances, and strengthen trust and vulnerability. These practices are well within the realm of what we call contemplative prayer. Father Richard Rohr describes letting go of your thinking, letting go of your need to say prayers, doing everything consciously with love. Psychologist Dr. James Finley says, the poet can't make the poem happen, but the poet can assume the inner stance that offers the least resistance to being overtaken by the gift of poetry. In my contemplative practice of soup making, I don't so much make soup happen as I assume the inner stance that offers the least resistance to being overtaken by the gift of soup. Let me tell you about one such experience in 2022. I was deep into the regular practice of soup making. I had been feeling chronic outrage over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I refused to feel disempowered. Whenever I hear a whisper of the lie, there's nothing you can do, I make soup. I was making soup every day. One day, a beloved friend was demoralized. That day, I was overtaken by the gift of a soup named Abundant Love Soup. The soup contained homemade vegetable broth, orange carrots, green celery, and maybe a yellow bell pepper. The soup's name emerged as I used colored pencils to make a note to go with the soup. I had been overtaken not only by soup, but also by creativity with colored pencils. The note said, Abundant Love Soup. Ingredients: orange love, green love, yellow love, love in the form of standing and stirring, love in the aroma. The note also had a hand-drawn heart labeled, how much love? An abundance. Like Jesus and his disciples, I had experienced slow it down. Chopping and stirring helps with that. I had experienced close the distance as I was receptive to the divine working through me to love another disciple. I experienced growth in trust and vulnerability, not only with the divine, but also with my friend. Having no illusions about my colored pencil skills, I trusted that if my friend were to laugh, well, that might be healing too. I could not fix the pileup of circumstances that led my friend to seem demoralized. But guess what? Neither the Holy One, nor my friend, nor much of anyone else asks me to fix other people's problems or circumstances. Jesus said, I am giving you a new road to walk. In the same way I have loved you, you are to love each other. What does this look like? I try to practice slow things down, close the distance, and increase trust and vulnerability. Amen?